Great morning. Great, fantastic, marvelous morning. Why? Because we were chosen to rise this morning. Rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine. Give God the glory, glory, rise, shine. Give God the glory, glory, soldiers of the Lord. Up, beat, rise, shine. Give God the glory, glory, rise, shine. Give God the glory, glory, rise, shine. Give God the glory, glory. Soldiers of the Lord. Yes, He chose us this morning, which is why we can breathe in His love, exhale His love, embrace His arms, embrace His comfort. Just embrace Him, period. How about that? All right. And so that's why we should give Him the honor, the praise, the glory, the hallelujah, the worship, but more importantly, just the acknowledgement. Just the acknowledgement. You see how simple that is? Just acknowledge Him in all things and watch your world turn right side up. Okay? So, welcome, because I always acknowledge my higher power, who I choose to call God, for delivering me 33 plus years ago from underneath a parked car after a 14-year addiction and mental illness. I'll tell you about all that a little later, because guess what? I'm here with you for an entire hour today. Yes, it's Sunday morning. Did my meditation, got myself together, set up my podcast and everything, right? Getting ready to sit with you for an hour to share a lot of information, and then off to my AA meeting, and then to my church family, Canaan Baptist Church, 3011 Newcastle Avenue in Newcastle, Delaware, where my pastors, Doctors Christopher Allen Bullock and Dr. Debbie Bullock. So I'm looking forward to embracing each and every task my God ordered for me this morning, for the purpose of staying sober, definitely, helping another alcoholic, definitely, but being of service to my Creator. I will be talking to you about the AA Daily Reflections. That is a 12-step spiritual program that I've been blessed to be a part of for 33 plus years. I will be incorporating the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family, and most recently, the Transformational teachings by Dr. Sonja of P3 University. Nope, I do not represent any of them, but I thank God for allowing me to be introduced, to be a part of, and to embrace those spiritual wisdoms, experiences, awakenings, all for the purpose of achieving a psychic change. And for that, I am grateful. And so, as you can see, I am a little dressed up this morning without the wig. I do have a little makeup on, which represents my heritage, my culture. This is my crown. And I even got fingernail polish on, right? That's because I was a model yesterday. And so, other than that, I wouldn't have these on either. You know, these are my nails, but I did put some paint on them, okay? But I represent my culture and my heritage and my tradition, okay? And so, welcome. I'm Edwina B., Miss Cuckoo for Cocoa Bops, as you can see and hear. And I am just so excited on Sundays because I get to spend an entire hour with you. So, let me ask you this question before we get started. Have you been enjoying these podcasts? Have they helped you in any way, shape, form, or fashion? Have you been motivated, inspired, and transformed with the information that God allowed me to share with you? I only add my perspective, but the information is from my higher power through the Holy Spirit to you. And this information is purposeful for us to gain transparency and authenticity, right? And so I'm excited to share with you that I am still on my spiritual journey. And as a result of those three wisdom provoking programs, information, knowledge, right? I have been set free from recovery, emerge enlightened and empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. If you didn't know, those are the acronyms that the Spirit gave me years ago. I am relaunching my platform so that according to Dr. Sonja, I can share it on all platforms as a verbal messenger. She elevated us to verbal messenger instead of transformational speaker. I like that, right? Because we have a message and it is verbal, right? It makes sense to me. A spiritual coach and a consultant. I'm also writing the continuation of my first book as it was written, and it's my journal entries as I embarked on the pathway of spiritual recovery from addiction and mental illness. And as a result of that 4-year journal entry, my God made a decision to have it published in 2015 or 2017. I think it's 2017. And I am continuing the journey, and it is called From Then Until Now. Subtitle, The Journey Continues. Because people have often asked me, Edwina, your journal entries, but what happened after that? What did you do? They were some powerful entries, for a person with mental illness and substance abuse. You've been blessed. And guess what? I don't, okay, I just listened. I just took one day at a time because I did not want to go back underneath that park car or to drinking and drugging, prostitution and all that. Didn't want to go back there. And so now, after being motivated and the fire ignited from Dr. Sonja, I have started and will complete my follow-up to As It Was Written, and you will see it very, very soon because Dr. Sonja gave me a very simple template to use. And because I have 33 plus years of experience, strength, hope, wisdom, and knowledge, I have plenty to share with you. And so look forward to my upcoming book entitled From Then Up Until Now. The journey continues, right? I also got motivated to complete my dissertation after 7 years. All my courses have been completed. I had a few more assignments to do. And now is the time because 7 marks the era of completion. And so I am going to complete my dissertation very soon. Why? Because I only have one day at a time. I need to practice my management skills, my organizational skills, my time management skills, setting my priorities. Why? Because the God that delivered me from underneath that parked car to be prepared to sit before you today has more steps ordered for me, and I will be obedient. And I just thank God that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And after a while, the spiritual student becomes ready and the spiritual teachers appear. And that's what happened with the Ruiz family, with the 5 agreements and the transformational teachings by Dr. Sonja. And so I wanted to give you those 2 updates. And then I am planning in the month of May a extravaganza on modeling, role playing, transformational speakers, and a Q&A session so that many of you who wondered why I am like I am, I want to give you the pathways that were given to me to do such a thing. And I'm so glad I did. There's nothing like being yourself. There's nothing like being free. When you listen to that song Spiritual by Donald Lawrence, we are not natural beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings encased in walking this natural experience here on earth called the journey of life. And when I and others in recovery and those who are part of Dr. Sonja's transformational teachings and those who have embarked on the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family, those 3, guess what? I love the number 3. That's my blessed number. I will share with you what it's like to be and becoming transparent and authentic. There's nothing like freedom. From recovery, emerge enlightened and empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. So I have a few things that I am working on, and they will manifest because I have a made up mind. Just like I had a made up mind underneath that parked car 33 plus years ago, after getting high and doing all kind of sexual favors with my own stepson. We were both 34 years of age, both in our severe addiction. And under the influence, he transformed into a violent person. I transformed into a person who feared for her life. As he administered the first punch, I jumped out the car and started running what I thought was for my life. Got a flashback from the past. When I played hide and seek, I hid underneath the bed. As I continued to run, a slew of cars were there. I said, if I just get underneath one of those parked cars, he can't get to me. And so I did, weighing only 90 pounds, dark circles around my eyes, face all sunken in, hair all short and matted, a few teeth in my mouth. Yes, the self-loathing, the hatred, the guilt, the remorse, the disappointment, the humiliation, the embarrassment. Yes, underneath a parked car, Edwina, dogs and cats get underneath cars, not human beings. Yes, that was my knee-bowing experience. And so before I even confessed with my tongue, I had more flashbacks. Edwina, you was the co-captain of the cheerleader team. You was the class vice president. You had ambitions of being a model and an actress, right? A phys ed teacher. You were voted one to most likely to succeed by your classmates. You were deemed by your parents the smartest of the 6 kids. What's wrong with you, Edwina? Why are you underneath that parked car? Yeah, so, And guess what? The flashbacks continued even the more. At the age of 23, as a prostitute, alcoholic, and crack addict, I got pregnant and made the decision based on my image and my reputation to take life. I committed murder. I consider that abortion I had was murder. And I thought whatever happened to me after that, I will deserve. Flashbacks continued. The rapes, the beat ups, the setups, being passed around like a bucket. Homeboys say, bitch, do me and do my boys too. If you don't do it right, I'm going to sick these dogs on you. You either going to yield or you're going to die. I submitted. Why? Because of the unknown disease of alcoholism and drug addiction. I became a slave to King Alcohol, to King Cocaine, right? And so as a result of being passed around like a bucket, spit on, called all kinds of names, I robbed dead bodies, stepped over dead bodies, seen them stacked up in the closet, jumped in and out of cars, turning tricks, jumped out of buildings to save my life. I even fell off a roof after breaking in my children's house through the roof because I just wanted to go to sleep. They came back a little too soon. I had to jump up and go out the same way I came in, on the roof, through the window. And as I was trying to climb down, I fell off the roof. That particular morning, it was a Sunday. I went to the church where I knew my mother was. And when I went to go in, one of the doormen stopped me and said, "You can't come in here looking like that, smelling like that." I said, "I want my mom. I need my mommy. I need my mommy." No, 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 no. You can't come in here like that. You sit right there on these steps and I'll go get your mother. What's her name? My mother's name is Helen Hall Taylor, but I want my mommy. Okay, I'll go get her, but you got to sit on the steps. And as he left, I said to myself, I can't even go into church to see my own mommy. And I left and went back out on the streets. There I got a disdain for the church and the church members and the pastors. Why? Because as a prostitute, there were many pastors who was my trick. They didn't want me to come through the front door, but they let me in the back door to get on my knees, not to pray, but to give them service. That's right. That's right. Yes, listen. You want transparency and authenticity? Here it is. And so, with that disdain for the church and the pastors and the people in it, oh, hell to the no. I want nothing to do with religion. And so, the flashbacks continued even the more. My children, who once looked up to me and respected me, now were embarrassed and ashamed of me. My family at times wanted to disown me because of the rumors and the tattletales that were going on about what Edwina was doing out there. Yes. And so the last flashback I got was my husband, who was the father of my stepson, who was a John, who saw a diamond in the rough and wanted to marry me. And he did. We spent 4 years together. 2 in my addiction. And the last time I got high was February the 22nd of 1990. I thank God for Paul G. Bell. That'll be a part of my continuation of my first book. But let me tell you something. Underneath that parked car with all those flashbacks, it was my knee-bowing experience. I was done. And somewhere deep down inside me came out these words. Whoever they say you are, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way. I don't know you. They said you was a punishing God, but please take me out now or show me a better way. Voila, I'm here, even after a few suicide attempts. He chose me to live. And therefore, I've been put on this spiritual pathway to be prepared for things yet to come. Okay, so that's enough of that. All right, so now let's go to our topic today. But before we go to our topic today, y'all know I like to do a review. All right, and so even though the topic today is a great paradox, but I always wanted to share with you the week's topics that we have covered. So I want to do just that, all right? So let me bring them on and let me share with you what they are, okay? All right, so let's hide this. On April the 24th, we talked about learning to love ourselves, right? And as a result of that topic, we in recovery had to recognize that through our fourth step journey of doing that inventory that was fearless and thorough, that we found out that there was nothing wrong with us, but plenty happened to us. And it was demonstrated, and it became obvious that we didn't know what love was, nor did we even know how to love ourselves. And based on the information from the Ruiz family, it was all based on domestication. So go back to AA.org and read the whole quote and the perspective of the individual. And more importantly, right, go to the big book or to the 12 steps and 12 traditions and all the AA literature that talks about how we learned how to love ourselves. Okay. On the next day, we talked about entering a new dimension. Entering a new dimension. you know, uh, because I go to my AA meetings every day, when we had this discussion within my 12 step fellowship, a lot of us had to reflect back in our past when we thought we entered a new dimension. And I shared some personal things. And guess what? I'm transparent and authentic. But when I got a certain feeling or I experienced something, I was like, ooh, what was that? Ooh, a new dimension. Something I never experienced before. When we used to get high, right? Ooh, what was that? Ooh, a new dimension. We were tripping. All right. And so here it talks about the spiritual dimension, that when we have that knee bowing experience and we confess with our tongues that He is the God of your understanding, He is, then we are embarking into a new dimension. All right. And on Wednesday, we talked about happiness is not the point. Happiness is not the point. Now, many of you, like me, thought that material things, people, outside situations, circumstances would make us happy. But as you read and go back, you will see that in this quote, in this particular reading, happiness is not the point. Why? Because it's an inside job. And it's amazing how through that fourth step and looking at the domestication process, that we sought outside things, people, places to make us happy. But just like people, places, and things don't last. And basically, it's an illusion. All right. And so, even though we believe in happiness through the 12 spiritual principles, the transformational teachings, and the five agreements, we find out that through that fourth step, we need to reveal what has been concealed, that is wearing all those masks, right? And it needs to be removed. They need to be removed in order for us to heal. So happiness is an inside job. And when we apply spiritual principles to all earthly matters, yes, happy, joyous, and free. Okay? So our next topic on Thursday was joyful discoveries, right? I love that. That topic was awesome because it talked about joyful discoveries. Now you know how when we were small children, and I related that day how when I think the first discovery thing, it was about Easter and trying to find the eggs. And when we discovered the eggs, yeah, we were so excited, joyful, yes. Oh, and it continued. So joyful discoveries are not new to us when we go back, but is that joyous discovery on a spiritual or materialistic level? And so now here in recovery that's spiritual in nature, that will give us spiritual experiences, awakenings, transformations, and ultimately a psychic change. There lies the joyful discoveries. Okay, all right, and then on let's see, what day is this? Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Friday, we talked about the two magnificent standards. The two magnificent standards, right? And it's amazing how when I shared about that particular one, it reminded me of the Magnificent Seven, the Cowboys, Yul Brynner, right? And so magnificent, two magnificent standards. Achieving sobriety. Magnificent. Magnificent. And helping another alcoholic achieve the same thing. Magnificent. Magnificent. And so when I think now about just two magnificent standards that were discovered by our co-founders who learned from the two previous movements, the Washingtonians and the Oxford group, that they came up through Dr. Carl Jung with the answer that was spiritual in nature. And so, two meaningful, magnificent, right, standards, okay? And then on yesterday, it was group autonomy, right? And so I shared with you and explained to you in detail how the 12 spiritual principles are designed for the transformation of the individual. And because of our fellowship now in over 129 countries, and of course, all the literature is in every language imaginable, that we go to these meetings, right? And there are a group of people suffering from the disease of alcoholism or have a desire to stop drinking or want to know about Alcoholics Anonymous that is nearly 90 years old. How we do this, right? And so the fact that we go to a group, a meeting, right? And so we have home groups at those meetings and at those particular groups. The first group was with Dr. Bob, Bill W., and Bill D., that was in an institution. And the three of them were sharing their experience initially. And then Dr. Bob and Bill W. shared their strength and their hope in order to help Bill D get on board, right? All right, so group autonomy, meaning that just like a row of houses, it's a neighborhood. Each of us can run our house as we see fit, as long as what we do doesn't disrupt the nature of the neighborhood. All right. So Alcoholics Anonymous is the same way. We have different groups that has different formats. That's all related to the AA message and how we arrive at that format is through a group conscious. And so it's impossible to learn everything about AA. And so that's why we have different groups that offer different formats so that you can be informed. So it behooves you to go to an open AA meeting that's open to the public. And if you have a desire to stop drinking and you know you are alcoholic in recovery, then we welcome you to our closed meetings for alcoholics only, right? And then can't you see how happy with me saying I'm a alcoholic? I'm a grateful alcoholic in recovery. All right. And so that was group autonomy. Now let's get to our topic for today. Did you like that review? I hope you did. All right. But remember, I want you to share if this information is helping you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Okay. All right. So April the 30th, my perspective of AA Daily Reflections, a great paradox. I'll be incorporating the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family and transformational teachings by Dr. Sonja. So what I want you to do before I take a drink of my ginger tea, shame on you. What are you drinking? You see what the cup says? I love you. 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 Whew. So open up your spiritual ears, open up your spiritual eyes, and let's read it together. And then we're going to dissect this baby. We got a whole half hour. Isn't that nice? Okay. All right, let's move this and let's bring this on. Okay. All right. So let me go back to here. Okay. Okay. April the 30th, right? Uh, the daily reflections. Our co founders take a quote off the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book from page 151. And the quote states, these legacies of suffering and of recovery are easily passed among alcoholics, one to the other. This is our gift from God, and its bestowal upon others like us is the one aim that today animates AAs all around the globe. The person in recovery shares his perspective. It could be a woman too, but you get my drift. The great paradox of AA is that I know I cannot keep this precious gift of sobriety unless I give it away. My primary purpose is to stay sober. In AA, I have no other goal, and the importance of this is a matter of life or death for me. If I veer from this purpose, I lose. But AA is not only for me, it is for the alcoholic who still suffers. The legions of recovery alcoholics stay sober by sharing with fellow alcoholics. The way to my recovery is to show others in AA that when I share with them, we both grow in the grace of the higher power, and both of us are on the road to a happy destiny. Okay? And so I want to dissect this baby, okay? All right, so one of the things I want to share, right? When we talk about these legacies of suffering and of recovery are easily passed among alcoholics one to another. Okay? Now, I don't know about you. I didn't wake up one morning saying I want to be an alcoholic, I want to be a drug addict, I want to be a prostitute. Nope, no, I didn't. No, no, no. I wanted to be a model and actress, a phys ed teacher, right? And so when we go through the 12 spiritual principles and incorporate the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family and transformational teachings by Dr. Sonja, the foundation was the 12 spiritual principles. Like I said about Donna Lawrence, we had to learn, right, that there was nothing wrong with us, but there was plenty that happened to us. And we needed to go back as far as we can remember to find out where those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors and belief systems were first formulated and how they impacted the remaining days of our life, even up until now. And so when you think about the suffering aspect, so because alcoholism, drug addiction, even mental illness are progressive diseases, right? Disorders, you really can't see it. It's subtle, it's sneaky, it's insidious, right? And so unknowingly to us who have this disorder of mental illness and substance abuse, we are not aware. And so we have moments of ooh, but then we clash. Ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, 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 and then, you know what I mean? The suffering, emotionally, spiritually, physically, in all areas of our lives, right? And so until we have that knee bowing experience, we suffer. And in our literature, it says all human beings are ill to some extent. Yes, think about it. There's not a perfect human being on this earth. And all of us suffer in one way, shape, form, or fashion. But I'm going to say, out of all the diseases I had and could have had, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for mine, because it led me to be sitting here before you. It led me from a God that I didn't know. He led me from a God that I didn't know to a spiritual program that's quite unique. Not religion at all. I told you about that, religion. Right? Even though I'm part of a religious group now, but it was my choice. And I'll tell you, if I have time, why. Okay? All right. And so I just believe that when we talk about suffering, we all, as human beings, will suffer. And if you have and are afflicted with co-occurring disorders, then it is even the more. All right. All right. So then it says that these legacies of suffering and of recovery are easily passed, right, among alcoholics one to another. So you know how they say misery loves company. All right. And Alcoholics Anonymous, we do the same thing. We share, right? We share, but instead of having sympathy in a negative way, instead of sitting there with misery, misery loves company, all that kind of stuff. Now we have found in Alcoholics Anonymous, through our work, that we put forth the effort of being honest, open-minded, and willing, right, to shed those layers of onions, right, so that we can find out who we were destined to be. And so as a result, we share with one another, just like we did in our suffering. We do the same sharing in Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's on a spiritual level. Makes a big difference, okay? All right. And so he also states, right, that this is our gift from God. This is our gift from God. So yes, 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 yes. People say, what? Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Sobriety is our gift from God. Whatever it took, it was needed for those in recovery to have that knee bowing experience. And guess what? They were gifts too. Yes. So going through the journey and obtaining this gift from God of being chosen. I told you I stepped over their bodies, robbed them. They ain't call no cops. We are chosen. Why he shoot her and didn't shoot me? Why did he push her off the edge and not me? Why did he stab him and not me? We are chosen. That's a gift, right? And so once I acknowledge it's a gift, let's see what else it offers. And its bestowal upon others like us is the one aim that today emanates AA all around the globe. Okay, so this is our gift from God, and its bestowal upon others like us is the one aim that today animates AAs all around the globe. I'm telling you, one alcoholic helping another. And like I told you in the beginning, with Bill D and Bill W and Dr. Bob, that constituted the first group. That constituted the first AA meeting. And from there, sprouted many. All right. And so as we share our experience, our strength, and our hope with one another, we stay sober. And we help each other stay sober. I've been around the world. I've been to a lot of AA meetings. Thank God. For the groups, that group autonomy, remember? Wherever I go, if I travel or for business or pleasure, I make sure I'm connected to my AA meeting. Oh, yeah. That's the first thing I do. Oh, yeah. Don't get it twisted. Because in order for me to make that business effective, whether it's a lose or a win, it doesn't matter. I put forth the effort. Whether that vacation is great or kind of whatever because of the rain and this and that, I'm grateful. Right? I made an AA meeting, and we'll make one in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And that's why we have been so successful over 80 plus years. No matter where you are, no matter what language you speak, listen. I can tell you some places where I've been, and they be like, don't go there, don't listen. I know where I'm going, and I know who has my back. Okay. And so let's continue, right? So the person in recovery, he shares his perspective, right? He said, the great paradox of AA is that I know I cannot keep the precious gift of sobriety unless I give it away. Oh my God. Huh? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? He said, the great paradox of AA is that I know I cannot keep the precious gift of sobriety unless I give it away. Oh, I love that. I love that. And see, in recovery, we learn through our character defects that the core of our disease is self-centeredness, selfish, me. And if we compare that same analogy in our past before we got to AA, it may have started with us, but it always ended up with me. Now, when we apply spiritual principles to earthly matters, we know, and we just read, that sobriety is a gift from God. Are you kidding me? And I want to keep that to myself. I wasn't going to say all hell to the no. No. Oh my God. The reason why I'm sitting here is because people shared with me who have the same disease, right? Mental illness, substance abuse, and all other related behaviors, attitudes, ideas, belief systems, right? But through the 12 spiritual principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, many other groups have, sprung from the parent 12-step program. But AA in its purest, right, form, it is a gift from God. So if God gave us this gift, our gift to him is to stay sober and to share it with others so that they too can achieve sobriety. Isn't that beautiful? All righty then. All right, let's go on and see what else he says. He says here, my primary purpose is to stay sober. My primary purpose is to stay sober. Do you hear me? My primary purpose is not this, not that. My primary purpose is to stay sober. That's deep. That's deep. My primary purpose is to stay sober. When I stay sober and apply these spiritual principles to all earthly matters, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. So I understand that I will stay sober under any and all circumstances, conditions, as long as I stay connected to my God and to the gift of sobriety through the AA fellowship and spiritual principles. You understand? So my primary purpose is to stay sober. All right, let's see what else he got to say, right? Then he says here, right? In AA, I have no other goal, and the importance of this is a matter of life or death for me. So if my primary goal is to stay sober, and I utilize what's available to me I apply what's available to me. I practice what's available to me. And my quality of life will be on a spiritual nature. Yes, spiritual. You understand me? Spiritual. I love this. I thank God for this. Why? Because He chose me. And He chose me and prepared me so I can help somebody else. That's why with my Free to Hope platform on all different levels is to achieve just that. Addressing the ills of our world, of ourselves, here on this earthly journey. When we apply spiritual principles to all earthly matters, no matter what the adversity is. My friend Miguel Pozo said the 12 steps of life, the 12 spiritual steps of life. That 12, where did that 12 come from? See, the spiritual principles came out the Bible, from the scriptures. And through divine intervention, AA used the same foundation, but now from a spiritual angle and not one of a religious. Okay? All right, so now, what else did he say? So I want to live. I ain't trying to die. If I veer from this purpose, I lose. Okay? So for 33 plus years, y'all, listen to this. From underneath a parked car, 3 o'clock in the morning, February 22nd of 1990. My first sober date was February the 23rd of 1990. In these 33 plus years, being introduced to and chosen to be involved in a 12-step spiritual program, but then a 12-step fellowship, many things has happened. Why in the hell would I want to throw away this gift for a feeling? For a temporary fix? But had I not done the work, I could be subjected to that. But when we talk about a spiritual transformation to achieve a psychic change, that's exactly what it is. I no longer think the way I used to. Right? Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect because I'm far from it, but knowing and learning about my character defects and having this God who took away that obsession and compulsion, He can take away anything and allow me to do anything as long as it is service to Him, so I can be of service to others. I'm getting my doctorate degree in biblical studies, not to be a preacher, but to learn more about the God who did for me that no other human being could do, not even my mother. As much as my mother prayed for me, over me, she was limited. I want to learn more about that God. I will graduate this year. I will complete my dissertation this year. Yes, 7 is the year of completion. I procrastinated long enough. Dr. Sonja put that fire underneath me. The Ruiz family complemented that fire. And the 12 spiritual principles was the foundation. Yes. Transformational speaker, spiritual coach, spiritual consultant. Got my master's in human services, right? To apply to the City of Wilmington Employee Assistance Program. A training manual to teach employees how to be of support to each other so they don't lose their job from having this co-occurring disorder. Yes. Who would have thought, right? The book that I wrote, the journal entries, it was suggested that I do And look what happened. The God that I now serve and found in this spiritual program published it. And when I say everything is in there, everything is in there. You wait till you hear from then until now, the journey continues. You'll get a lot of clarity of some of those journal entries. Yes. To be on TV, a talk show host, for choosing a new way of life. Me? 32 plus years? Sharing this gift? Sharing all components of this addiction and recovery process? Me? Yes. Yes. My son is a doctor of education, works with children, youth, who suffer from the same ills that he did. With parents being addicted and prostitution and all that. He works with those youth to let them know you don't have to follow the same footsteps of your parents. My daughter has her own construction company called A Woman's Touch. A big honcho for the L&I department for the city of Wilmington. But my daughter remembers when I almost sold her for drugs. So she helps teach young ladies who were used for sex trafficking and other trade. So the disease of alcoholism and mental illness is a family disease. But guess what? Recovery offers spiritual restoration. Recovery is a family process too. When the person in recovery gets help, the family needs to get help too. Most of them don't. That's okay. I'll make sure I do. All right. And so all those things has transpired in these 33 plus years. And I'm just getting started. All right. So let's see what else he says. Right. And so if I veer from this purpose I lose. But AA is not only for me, it is for the alcoholic who still suffers. Right. And so when I recognize that I was given a gift, I need a drink of ginger. It was like, Edwina, somebody gave it to you. You may not have wanted it, but the seed was planted. Yeah. That young lady, that young lady who came to Presbyterian Rehab in Philadelphia while I was there. I went to that meeting. It was an AA meeting that was brought into the hospital. And like many others, oh, here come another one. Here come another speaker. Oh, my, yeah, all right. Although I didn't stay sober then, but the seed she planted in me, I said, God, if you keep me sober, I want to be able to share just like her. Oh, she was raw. She was transparent. She was authentic. She didn't leave nothing out. She said how she felt, what she did, how she did it, how she felt doing it. And I was like, whoa, you shared all that in front of us? Then she came with the hit. She shared that the God of her understanding chose her and prepared her to do what she's doing now through a 12-step spiritual program. She provided the solution. And that's when I said, look, I want to be just like her. Keep me sober long enough. But guess what? It eventually happened because the seed was planted. And I'm hoping that I'm planting a seed with you and that I will continue to plant seeds while I'm here on this earthly journey, applying spiritual principles. It's not my concern who, because that's God's business. My obligation and my honor is just to plant the seeds, right? So I thank God I'm a seed planter because one was planted for me. All right. All right. I got 4 more minutes. All right. So let's go here to the next line. It says here, right? The legions of recovery alcoholics stay sober by sharing with fellow alcoholics. The way to my recovery is to show others in AA that when I share with them, we both grow in the grace of the higher power, and both of us are on the road to a happy destiny. Can I close out with this? I never could have imagined the quality of my life as it is now, and as it has transpired over my entire life. There's a promise, one of our promises says, we will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will certainly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And there are more, but only God, only the Creator, only the force, only could have ordered my steps to this point in my life. He was just waiting till I had that destined knee bowing experience. Oh, every knee shall bow, and every mouth, every tongue will confess that He is. And so, as a result of my life journey, it's not even over yet. And look what I'm doing. Planting the seed somewhere, somehow, in somebody. Yesterday, when I modeled for this church event, I wore different wigs for the outfits that I had. I wore my hair like this for my the African scene, my heritage, my culture. And you see, as a child, I wanted to be a model, but I was discouraged. You're too fat. You got a big butt. Your buck teeth. Mm-hmm. You're too dark. You're too short. But once I had that knee bowing experience, and I confess with my tongue that He is, He prepared me to be His model, to accept the gift of sobriety and to give that gift back to Him by staying sober and helping another alcoholic achieve sobriety. With that, all of your heart's desires will manifest. And so me walking that runway, I tell you, it's a joy. Me sharing my experience, my strength, my hope, my wisdom, my perspectives every day with you, it's awesome. Me writing these books, even in plays, on stage, in movies, documentaries, it's all for the purpose of helping one more of His children. Each one teach one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And guess what? You see, listen, I'm sure you can feel my spirit. And if you ever meet me, that's why they call me Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, right? I'm just, I'm, I'm just me. And I love being me. I learned to take off the mask. And I learned to take off the mask inside. I have no secrets. Nothing and nobody's going to make me go back to drinking underneath that parkour. Oh, hell no. I refuse to tell God to kiss my behind. Are you kidding me? I'll tell you, but I come back in the 10th step and apologize. I love my life today. I'll close with saying this. Don Miguel Ruiz says, help me to make the world a better place by being authentic and transparent, and be the artist of your life, and more importantly, be the love of your life. Because our higher power, we are the love of his life and everything that's included on this earthly journey. Have a blessed day. Make the best of it. Go back to aa.org and read all the information. Go to Dr. Sonja, DRSONJA, brands.com. DRSONJA, brands.com to learn about Dr. Sonja. Go to Miguel Ruiz, Miguel Ruiz, right? Oh, let me see if I have it on here. Let me see. Wait a minute. I don't like giving out wrong information. Let's see if I have it. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Nope. But I'll get it for you, okay? But anyway, so MiguelRuiz.com, MiguelRuiz.com, and definitely go to aa.org. If it's God's will that we are rejoined tomorrow, I'll be here, and I pray that you will be too. Enjoy the day, but learn to love yourself first so that you can learn to love others, because he first loved us and loves us. Be blessed.